Cumberland just almost very confusing. Near the end of the tornado. Until it actually hits you. It's ground. Hits around, yeah. But you get enough, they do that after a while. I've seen a few. I haven't seen very many times. Not very many. Kind of just started, once it just started coming out, but never did much. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. I'll pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Here.
Blade.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Layton.
Yes.
Kay.
Yes.
Holcomb.
Yes. Okay, we're here this evening to discuss, we have a hearing for service areas 1, 2, and 3 about raising the max rate on this area. At this present time, the max rate on these 3 areas is at 22 cents, I think. And with this hearing, we're wanting to discuss raising it to a max of 40 cents. Not necessarily raising tax, but we have a max rate, then it'll be 40 cents that the Special Service Area Commission can raise up to that amount in the future. So, first off, I would like Ron Black to read a letter kind of explaining some, in case there's any confusion, maybe it will make a small difference, so we'll read that. Go ahead, Ron, you ready, Ron?
I'm ready as can be. Good evening, folks. I'm sure you all see one of these letters. That's probably why you're here. So I'll just get into it. I don't know if many of you think it's Toledo Democrat or the Green Press or some of them, but this letter that Mike, well, first of all, let me say that Mike Black is my nephew. He's not here, so he asked me to be his stand-in. So I'm the stand-in. You want me to read this letter to you? Has all of you had a chance to read the letter or hear the letter? Okay, I see some notes, so I will read the letter. As we know, well, if you read the letter that was sent out on, I think it was the 5th, it didn't say what the 40% tax increase was. And Mike, in his letter to the editor of this editorial, tried to explain that the tax increase is for the ambulance service. And so that's what we're here for tonight, trying to figure out what's going on. So I've got new eyes. I used to be able to read without these things, but now I've got to use this. So if I stumble a few times, my glasses aren't exactly right where they're supposed to. The title of, or the headline was Clarification of County Clerk's Letter dated April 5th, 2024. The purpose of this article is to clarify the letter dated April 5th, 2024 sent out to property owners in Special Service Area 1, Jewett, Special Service Area 2, Toledo, and Special Service Area 3, all of the rest of Woodbury, Sumter, and Cottonwood Townships. The letter was unclear as to what and why the proposed tax increase is necessary. It is for the Toledo Ambulance Service that provides service for these areas. I'm sure most everyone agrees that an ambulance is very much needed in the central area of Cumberland County. We lost our ambulance service in September 2022 but with the help and efforts of many, was able to reestablish the service in July 2023. It is manned 7 days per week, 24 hours a day. it has new personnel requirements. No volunteers are allowed. Highly trained paramedics must be trained on the proper equipment and certifications, both personally and the ambulance must be properly equipped for paramedic functions by state regulations. Basically, it says state regulations, we can't have volunteers. We are different from Greenup and Neola. They now run their ambulances through their fire departments. Their taxes are or can go to 40 cents per $100 of assessed valuation, as this letter sent April 5th is proposing. In our area, we do not have the access to interstate runs or transfers from nursing homes as Greenup and Toledo is privileged to have. These are the moneymaker runs. Ours are more of the Medicare and Medicaid runs, which usually pays much less. Greenup and Neoga taxes for their ambulance service are through their fire missions. Since our area will not do this, we must have a special service area by state statutes. Special service area committee must be established to propose tax increases if necessary and be the liaison between the Toledo Ambulance Service and the Cumberland County Board. They oversee the ambulance functions and make recommendations to the board when needed. The Cumberland County Board can vote to propose an increase in the tax levy, but must be brought to the taxpayers in their special service area. To vote no on the increase would terminate the ambulance service indefinitely. Besides revenues from runs, donations from time to time, tax revenue is all that is left to pay expenses. This 40 cents of assessed valuation is in line with neighboring communities. It is very much needed to keep the service going. Below is some examples of the ambulance taxes levied on properties at 40 cents. There's lots of numbers here, so I will go through them, I guess. A house and lot valued at $50,000. The EAV on a $50,000 house is 1/3. And if you don't want to check your own taxes, if you want to see where the EAV is, right down here, which is 1/3 of the value of your property. I gotta just find a place where I left off. Okay, so a $50,000 house, 1/3 of it, the EAV is $16,667, which equals, and he didn't put this in here, but that is the total EAV and your tax for $100 of the EAV. So you have to divide that EAV by 100. So the tax that is the amount that comes up from $1,667 is $167 times the 40 cents, which equals $67 a year for a $50,000 house. House and lot value of $100,000, 1/3 is $33,333 EAV, which makes $33 times 40 cents, which is $133 per year. House and lot value of $150, divided by 1/3 is 50,000 EAV, which makes 500 the multiplier, and times 40 cents, and that's $200 a year. House and lot value of a $200,000 house, the EAV is $66,667, which means that $667 after you divide by 100, what you multiply 40 cents by, and that's $267 per year. House and lot value, okay. House and lot value of an actual one had a value of, well, I guess all of these, well, the other hypothetical, maybe, I don't know. House and lot value of $81,000, divided by 1/3 is $27,036, which is $270 times 40 cents. That is $108.14 per year. And that is less than Billy Chambers' house in Toledo.
Is that the Toledo or Green or Jewett house?
What's that?
Is that Toledo? or
That was a
Jewett?
Toledo house. I've got the Jewett house coming up. House and lot value of their Jewett house was $73,548 divided by 1/3, which is 24,515 EAV. Makes the number 245 times 40 cents is $98.06 a year. Building and lot value of the Toledo Democrat, $28,695 divided by 1/3 is $9,565, which is 956, rounded down after the division of 100 times 40 cents is $38.26 per year. Lot value of, okay, this is an empty lot, $7,188, divided by 1/3 is $2,398, gives $718 of EAV after you do the 100, and times 40 cents is $9.58 per year. I'd like to thank you guys for letting me use those numbers.
No problem.
Farmland values are figured by soil type, so who knows how they're done. I think they just have to take some Ouija board or something, I don't know. But, in Sumter Township, 40 acres is $73 per year. I don't know, that must be awfully good ground, because I did, a calculation on some of mine here just a little bit ago, and it was a lot less than that. Woodbury, 80 acres was 74 a year, and Cottonwood is 40 a year. Conclusion, this proposed tax increase will keep the ambulance service in operation. Without it, it will dissolve. The SSA ambulance tax is approximately 5% of the total tax bill. Most of your taxes go to other taxing districts in the county. And I have no idea what this is, but it says, for example, $2,000 home and lot divided by 3 is $66,667. Divided by 100 times 40 cents is $267. I should have put it up there, I'd have thought. No, I don't. I'm just reading. I am available to discuss this with anyone if needed, anytime. I want an ambulance service functioning in our service area, period. Your representatives from Area 1 is Jerry Kemper, Area 2, Robert Sponsel, Area 3, Mike Black and Chad Glasner. And there's telephone numbers. Mike has a cell phone of 217-259-9759. Bob has a telephone number of 217-273-2847. And Jerry has a telephone number of 217-663-5122. In this edition of the paper, they didn't have Chad's number, so I can't give you Chad's number. So, I guess I can take some questions. I've done this kind of stuff for my life.
Okay, we got 180, we got several 80, we got 180, last year was $46, year before last, this year was $86, or $96. 86 cents.
Yeah.
Double last year already, from the year before.
Right. From what I understand, when they first come out with this, They decided they wouldn't do farmland as high as houses. And so they had kept farmland really, really low for quite a while. And last year, they decided to bring it up to, I think it's 18 cents. Is that what it says on there, about 18 cents from about, the year before was probably 11 cents or.
Supposed to be 11, but I don't think we were getting that.
Yeah.
Like 8 cents, I think, or 9.
Yeah, it was a lot lower. I'm like you, I don't like taxes. I hate taxes. But for an ambulance service, I'm willing to pay the money, and I'll give you the reason why. I've ridden in the ambulance twice in my life. Once when I was a principal up at Hartsburg Union. I had high blood pressure from doing that job, and they sent me out and down to Lincoln Hospital. The second time I was in the hayfield out west of town, or east of town. I got overheated, way too hot. And as luck would have it, my grandson and wife they're close to the car. They came out, got me, put me in the air conditioning. We went around for a while. I started feeling a little bit better, went into the house. They called the ambulance service, take me up to Sarah Bush. It took about 10 minutes to get the ambulance service out without much of a problem. A couple of years ago, we had a visitor from California. Well, he moved to Minnesota now. And he had AFib while he was sitting at our kitchen table. This was during the period of time that Toledo didn't have an ambulance service. So if I can say that I'll say they took 15 minutes to get out to me at where my farm was. By the time, and I don't know what the holdup was, and they may have been on the interstate or something like this, both of them, in the Neoga and Green ambulances. It took a little over half an hour to get to. And that is, to me, that period of time, the time between 15 minutes and a half an hour, you're in the middle of a heart attack, you've got your hand in a corn picker or something like that, you don't want to wait that extra 15 minutes. So that's my thing. And I agree with you. My taxes went up. I looked at mine also. Maybe pretty good question. Any other questions?
I'll say something wrong. This girl right here, back from a few years ago, she worked 24/7 on call for not weeks or months, but that you worked that like that. And Michael and Martin done the same thing. When we was short on help, they worked the whole week, 24/7, all the way around. And we had Chapin Rose come down and talk to us the other day, and we told him what kind of money we'd been getting over the last 40 years. He said, you guys should have been rented in the state of Illinois. So it'd been better.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other question for Mr. Black? Otherwise, we're going to go into public comment. All right, thank you, Ron.
We're gonna have a rebuttal on that, or is that just one-sided?
Well, we're going to public comment now. So you can,
Well,
anybody,
we should have a rebuttal. I'm just like the newspaper didn't have a rebuttal, for Mr. Black's words.
well, who's going to do the rebuttal?
I mean, I could put something together quickly.
Well, keep it under 5 minutes, please.
How long was Ron up?
Well, he was asked to read the letter, but now we're in
So-
public comment.
So you're gonna cut me short, but you're gonna give him more time. Is that what you're saying?
How much time do you need?
As long as it takes, as long as it took him.
No.
I'm gonna do what is necessary to
I have
convey
a
the
letter to
point.
the editor.
Yeah,
May I read it?
I've got it right here. I've got it right here, and I'm gonna read it.
Okay. We're still not in public comment yet.
That is correct.
Okay, gotcha.
It's important to point out that I am the only county board member who is in this SSA. All right, none of these other 5 county board members are served by this ambulance company. However, all of them can vote. So the people who are outside of this district are voting to cause this to happen, all right? Not you and not your elected representative, all right? So it's set up in a very bad manner that was set up in 1982. That in itself should disallow us from moving forward with this ambulance.
Can I argue that just a second, Ralph?
No. And so I'm going to go on to my,
Set up in a bad manner.
pardon me?
Go ahead.
I was elected to represent the voters of the Central District of Cumberland County. In the most recent election, my constituents voted overwhelmingly that they want the ambulance service to be run by, they want the ambulance service to be run by the Toledo Fire Department, and I wholeheartedly agree. Now, if I'm correct, there is no vote that we're going to be taking today or doing. The vote is already done. And all we're here for is to explain what's going on and to let you folks vent and discuss it. In order for you to fight this situation, you would have to get 51% of the voters representing this district to throw out this vote. All right, going on. One paragraph in Mr. Black's article points out the whole problem. That paragraph went as follows. To vote no on this increase will terminate the ambulance service indefinitely. Besides runs, donations from time to time, tax revenue is all they have left to pay the expenses. All right, there are many flaws in that statement. The first sentence will terminate this ambulance service indefinitely. And that is wrong because even when the Toledo ambulance service was not functioning and out of business for almost a year, we were never without ambulance service. They just...
They hear you. Go ahead. So could I clarify that a minute?
No. Let them finish. They weren't providing the service. All right, I'm gonna start that paragraph again. The first sentence will terminate the ambulance service indefinitely. That is wrong because when the Toledo ambulance service was not functioning and out of business for almost a year, we were never without ambulance service. They just weren't providing it. Next, the taxpayers have demonstrated through voting that they would prefer the fire department to run the show. So again, the statement is incorrect that the ambulance would be closed indefinitely because Toledo Fire is quite capable in providing that service. The funding, according to Black, read, besides revenue from runs, donations from time to time, or tax revenue, is all that is left to pay expenses. That is not correct. The beginning of the end for the Toledo ambulance service was COVID. When the biggest medical disaster was occurring around us, the federal government was printing $7 trillion. Toledo ambulance service, specifically the people who are responsible for the prudent management of your tax dollars, failed to apply for any money, no grant money, no PPP, nada, nothing. This was a global medical emergency, and our Toledo ambulance service management just watched it pass by. There were Toledo ambulance board members who did apply for PPP and received the funding for their businesses, so it's not like they didn't know about it. But there was no PP application filed for the Toledo ambulance service. They did get $50,000 in COVID ARPA money from the county board, which the county board could have used for many other things, but they had to do it to replace an ambulance. The problem was that the diesel engine of the ambulance was filled with gasoline and was ruined shortly before all their employees walked out on the same day. The Toledo ambulance service business model is outdated. The nonprofit model doesn't allow us to get full reimbursement for Medicaid runs. So that's another problem with Mr. Black's funding issue. That's more than $500 for each Medicaid run that we are not getting reimbursed for, simply because the business model is outdated and now it's incorrectly set up. That's another valid reason for turning it over to the fire district. The tax revenue that Black refers to is the low-hanging fruit. It's easier for the Toledo Ambulance Board to come in here and shake down and put pressure on the county board members than it is to go out and write a grant, than it is to go out and look at the metrics as to why we are under pressure. I offered to get Toledo Ambulance Service in shape before I even took office. But again, once I did take office and my help was rebuffed, instead I was attacked and county board members were intimidated into voting for the squeaky wheel, which is Toledo Ambulance Service Board. Keep in mind that none of the county board members that voted for the tax increases are in the SSA district, so they have no skin in the game. Their taxes weren't affected. Mine were, as well as most of yours. County board should not be involved in the decision-making process for Toledo Ambulance Service. County board shouldn't be micromanaging the ambulance services in the county. Greenup and Neoga fire departments are eligible for many grants and state funding as a municipal-run service. The Toledo Ambulance Service is not. They can also bill Medicaid for more money per run. I think that should be Medicare, if they complete the paperwork to do so. Toledo Fire Department would be eligible too, not Toledo Ambulance Service. The tax increase primarily raises the taxes on the agricultural sector. The ag sector is the largest employer in the county and the largest industry in the county. They are also the least user of the Toledo Ambulance Service. This is nothing other than a bailout and a subsidy to Toledo and Jewett. Taxpayers in the countryside will be subsidizing each ambulance run to the countryside to the tune of more than $3,000 per run. The cost per run for the Toledo taxpayer is $200. Big difference. I'll take questions now.
I just want to make one clarification. When I was on the board, and I don't know how many of you were on the board at the same time, we went over and discussed with the Toledo Fire Department. They had their lawyer there, and the lawyer said, "Ain't no way." And that's almost a quote from that lawyer. So that's, I wanted it, I would have loved to have had it in the Toledo Fire Department. But, and I think the rest of the board would have also. But the lawyer said no, so the ambulance board, or the fire department board, said no to us.
That's correct. I agree with that, Ron. Any other questions for Mr.?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of them.
Hold on.
Let's keep it.
Mr. Jones?
Well, hold on one second on Ron's. I was there, and the lawyer did say that, but I would say that he was instructed to say that by the fire department.
That's possible. I don't know. I just heard him say it.
Because when you say ain't no way, then why are other fire departments doing the exact same thing?
Good question. I have no idea.
I got an answer for that. Toledo has an well, this area has an SSA. In order to put it in the firehouse, you're gonna have to form a district. That district is gonna have the same set tax as what you guys have already voted to approve. Same thing. Greenup gets .40 to run the district fire department. It's not like Toledo. Toledo's ambulance is a private company. The board did that. Jonathan, your figures and facts. Don't hold your hand up. I have an opportunity to speak.
Don't be attacking me.
I'm not
Don't
attacking
be
you.
telling me that my
Hey,
facts are wrong.
we were told we could answer or ask you questions. Are you gonna answer questions or not?
Give me figures and facts. You never have figures and facts. This is all about emotion. Everything I do
Oh,
is
no,
emotion.
no.
I've only been the only one that brought metrics.
Fact of the matter is, you're not the only one that represents the people of the Central District.
I'm the only
Every
one.
board member here represents this entire county. You know, you say a lot of things that aren't true, and these people don't understand, because they've never been to a board meeting.
Bob, can I further talk on that? He says we're not representing there, but we get our recommendations from the Special Service Area Commission for a tax increase. That's why we get our opinion whether we need an increase or not. And if they recommend an increase, they are in that Special Service Area. If they recommend an increase, we should honor their request, because they are the ones that live in this area. That's why we are represented by that in this area.
Not if they don't present metrics. They're only presenting emotions.
Well.
We haven't talked about ALS, we haven't talked about BLS, we haven't talked about EMR, we haven't talked about peak times of taking people, we haven't talked about grant writing, we haven't talked about fixing the business model so that we get full reimbursement. We haven't talked about anything having to do with the business of it. It's always attack Jonathan Kay and emotions. Oh, the ambulance is gonna go away, woe is me, it's gonna be 15 minutes longer. That's never been the case. We have great services in Neoga and in Greenup, and we can still have a service in Toledo. But instead we're arguing, and we're not focusing on the business, we're focusing on the emotion and we're not solving the problems. And that's why I'm not running for the county board again, is because we're not getting things done that people as smart and as useful as us should be getting done. So if we're gonna waller with the pigs, then go ahead and waller with the pigs, but I'm not gonna waller with you.
What's the figures for Medicare?
I've got all the numbers. I've already presented.
You're only gonna get so much for Medicare.
I already
and so much
presented
for
all
Medicaid.
this at a board
That's the
meeting,
same thing Greenup and Neoga.
and I'd be happy to share it with anyone.
Now, Mr. Sponson speaks at all these meetings, but all these other folks are here and they never get a chance to speak. Let's hear somebody
Okay,
different.
Bob, hold on.
I've got a question real quick. Back to this letter that, clarification letter. On September of 2022, it said that the Toledo ambulance was not in service. Was it due to funding or was it due to staff?
Staff.
No staff.
We were great. We did not see that coming. When Effingham raised all their wages, all our, they gave us 2 weeks notice. Some of them gave us that day, that night. We did not.
So the reason we had no Toledo ambulance service was not due to funding, it was due to staff.
Staff.
Thinking,
And it was funding, because we had double their wages.
it was two combinations too, funding and staff.
Yes.
We didn't have staff because we didn't have the funding to pay them what they
Correct.
were. So it was funding.
Volunteers, they're volunteers, then, right? They weren't full-time employees.
No, they were full
No, they
time.
were.
They were, actually, there were three things. Funding, staff, and the ambulance was not functioning because they blew up the motor by filling it up with gas.
Well,
Diesel motor.
Well, mistakes happen,
So
people make
those are three
mistakes.
things.
Okay, that guy's question.
Mr. Jones?
Now, on these low revenue runs, I suppose it's Medicaid, why doesn't the village or the county make up the difference if the ambulance is business? Why should the ambulance take peanuts when the whole county gets the benefit of the ambulance? Same way with the city. I've asked a question for the board too.
Could you repeat your question?
On these low revenue runs, which I understand the town has several through the year, why doesn't the village make up the difference on the cost? Why should the ambulance service absorb it all, even though they're a business, when the county takes a benefit, the village takes a benefit. Why not have the village, like we understand, Britain pitches in money to support their ambulance? Why can't Toledo?
They
Why
can.
can't the county?
They can, but they have not offered.
No, they do. They don't charge us rent, we don't have to pay a light bill, we don't have to pay a water bill, they pay for the internet, they pay for our phone. We don't pay anything.
Is nothing.
And they pay the trash bill.
The run. If you said the average run is what, almost $3,000?
No.
No,
That would be how much it costs relative to the amount of taxes that we're paying in SSA, one. Are we one? No, we're three, SSA 3. So the rural areas are paying disproportionately more per run to serve our area relative to the amount that SSA 1 and SSA 2 are paying, because we subsidize more because we are being taxed on land. Their land is considerably smaller. It only contains their house. Our land contains our home and our livelihood.
But that would be like me complaining, living in the country, in Greenup's district, complaining about my area paying substantially more per run than all the people in Greenup. The number has to go all the way around, period. You can try figuring it. Yeah, it costs more because there's less people out there in the country. The bottom line is you're all in that area, in my opinion.
So because we live in the country and we farm, we get penalized for the people that live in town, make low revenue runs.
So you've got to ask yourself why it was set up the way it was originally, and that's because the people who set it up knew that the countryside would pay a disproportional amount based on the service that they were receiving. And that whole argument stands, okay? The only reason that they're changing it is because they need more money and the lines, everything will line up. It's more pretty to be 22 cents or 40 cents across the board if everybody has that. But it isn't because the service demands it, it's because they want more money. And the reason they want more money is because they're failing to modify to meet the changing times. And we are not moving forward as a county, as an ambulance service, or as a board, because we keep having these meetings and we keep arguing and we don't move forward. If we turn this over to the ambulance, these meetings would be unnecessary in the future.
Or do we need to hire somebody to come in and do a feasibility study on the ambulance service?
Actually, we have somebody who's available who has expressed interest in helping us. But we, as our local ambulance service, is not mature enough to accept that help.
Well, I mean, if it's a business, we need to run it as a business, not just a money pond.
That's what I offer.
Can I read these figures?
All locations that are government entities and get paid more for Medicaid runs. We'll talk about Medicaid runs being the lowest amount. The state of Illinois has made a fix for that. It's available to you at the fire department in Greenup. It's available to the fire department in Yoga. It's available to any town operated ambulance. It's not available to a private or nonprofit ambulance service. The state will pay what it costs for that run, minus what they take off. So for example, Bloomington is submitting $1,800 per run for a Medicaid run. Net, they're getting more like $900, which is way more than they're getting right now from Medicaid. If they just set violent Medicaid, what they pay is what, $200. So we're not moving with times and getting the money that's available. The state has a program that's available now, not to nonprofits and not to private.
I wouldn't say that I would know standards. I don't know. But we voted for the Yoga High School 10 years ago. They wanted to raise taxes on voltage. They tried to roll up the school, close down. It didn't get it passed. They didn't get it passed. They fixed their spending problem. They updated how they would get their money. And it's still just
Good. Thank
just
you.
fine.
Thank you.
But they had a spending problem. They wouldn't take the money in. They're doing just fine. And they never raised the tax.
I just meant Bob. I think somebody back there had a question.
this is what I don't understand, is how much is village of Jewett paying? Are they paying exactly 18% like we're paying, or?
What area is it?
Jewett would be paying 22 cents. 22 cents they would pay.
I just don't understand why, I've got 600 acres. And it's $80 for 80 acres right now, and you're gonna more than double that. It's gonna cost me $2,400 a year.
No, I won't more than double. Right now, you're 22 cents. You're,
No.
And
Even
you're
if
gonna
it
go
would be 16.
If it's farmland, it's not in the village.
I thought all three areas went to 22 cents the
They
last.
didn't, yes, you voted to do that.
Isn't it?
You voted to do that.
Say
The
what?
one that he's received.
Oh, the next tax bill will be 22 cents. So, then after that, yeah, okay.
It was 60, it was
It's gonna cost me $2,400, but it's gonna cost everybody to cut out.
Mm.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay. And they,
So if this last assessment, my taxes went up 51%, why can't that money come out of that 51%? Like, why do I need to pay more in taxes? Why can't we service the ambulance with the taxes already paid? 51% on me for us is $3,000. So,
well, no.
You're talking about your total tax
our
bill?
total
Oh,
taxes.
Yeah.
So it would still cost us almost $300 more a year. My husband's retired, so, kind of fixing it. We don't want to pay that. Yes, we need the ambulance, don't get me wrong, 100% agree with that. But I don't want to pay more taxes when I'm gonna pay 51% more this year than what I did last year.
51% more for
Can
the
you find
ambulance.
the money
No,
with
for
that money
total
that
tax
we're paying
bill.
next year? Because I'm not the only one that knows. A
I'm
lot
not
of
reassessed.
That much?
It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get a lot
I agree with
worse.
you. I absolutely agree with you. Because if we approve this, it gets voted in yes, then that opens us up for another tax assessment next year. And then you'll double it again, or raise it 50%, 25%, whatever.
Well, what are you gonna do when it goes up more because the population drops, because there's not enough taxpayers, because there's no ambulance service,
There's
people
not enough
die
taxpayers because they're gonna move.
or die?
That's the whole state. That's not just Cumberland County.
Be real. It's an aging population.
Except for the kids.
But you got a lot of people here
The
that live
people-
on
kids are
fixed
leaving.
incomes and they can't afford that.
Go to Matt Toon and pay taxes.
I understand. I've lived in that too.
Yeah.
That's
But I
why,
pay
that's why
taxes
Steve
now. I
Cumberland.
live in that too.
Awesome.
Mr. Chairman, did board not vote to put 0.40 per hundred and give it to the fire department if the ambulance went over that? I believe if you go back and look at the record, you did. Because that's when I stood up. I said, if you're gonna give it to the fire department, why not give it the way it is now? Go back and read the minutes. What people don't understand is the ambulance was trying to run off $53,000 a year. Everybody in Greenland is paying taxes, even in the country, on their farm. And they're paying paramedics $27 an hour or somewhere thereabouts. And they don't know if they're going to survive getting $500,000 in tax money and $150,000 from the village of Greenland. One, you gotta build, the firehouse is not big enough to put a crew in there 24/7. You have to provide a kitchen, bathrooms, sleeping quarters. You gotta have something to do with, your fumes from the fire truck. That's where this money goes. And you can't do it on $53,000 a year. You had, if an ambulance service come in here and tell you they'd be more than happy to take care of our area while Toledo wasn't able to run, and they quoted you guys over $500,000. Now you sit here and say that it can be done, now my money, it can't be. I'm a taxpayer. I live in this district, too. I have 4 pieces of property. I pay the same taxes as everybody else.
Okay, everybody.
Yeah, I just got a few things to say. I'm not a very good speaker, so bear with me. First of all, I believe Mr. John McKay said, and I'm not going at me, I'm just stating your name. was that SS3 was carrying the burden on everybody else. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. And I believe he made a comment at some point in the board minutes or somewhere else that all the calls were being here and they were paying for it. Within this last year, I can't say any names or addresses or anything like that. I would say that a lot of the calls have been in SS. I had a family member that lives in SS3, along with his relatives right here behind me. And I would gladly pay the taxes for them as well as I hope they would pay the taxes for me. Thirdly, I guess, if I'm on number 3, I don't remember now, but back in 2003, that lady right there, Dawn Whitaker, was volunteer for the Toledo Ambulance Service. She got a call, and I'm a diabetic, and I was basically comatose. I was like, my blood sugar's 23. She gave me a shot, and it kicked in, and it saved my life. There's one reason why I stand for the ambulance service. Second example was in 2 years ago, about this year time. I was working in my shop. I had something going on, and I was just confused and all that stuff. To make a long story short, I took the ambulance right to the hospital. Well, when ambulance people come to my house, they couldn't figure out what was going on with me. Nobody knew. I was just confused and dazed. And I was sitting in a chair, I'm like, no, that's not my insulin, it's not none of that stuff. And they said, Kevin, you don't have to take the ride if you don't want to. But we know you, and I know not everybody's gonna know the ambulance people, unfortunately I do. But those 2 people who came on that run convinced me that I needed to at least go get checked out. And if I hadn't been, I wouldn't have been admitted like I was to CCU. Mr. Cobb Layton was one of my nurses in there, and I had carbon monoxide poisoning. And I would have been dead. My levels were extreme, but those 2 gentlemen that came that day saved my life. And so that's another reason I stand for it. Do I like taxes? Hell no. Do I believe we need an ambulance service? Yes. Do we need to be at 40 cents? Hell, I don't know. 28, 30, I don't care, but they need some funding. And that's what I got in this here bill right here.
Okay. I would like to explain something. A lot of you people want to go to the fire department, to the fire department, like clarification, that would help the financial situation. So, I think our board is kind of in that direction, right, Kyle?
Absolutely.
We
The problem is, I'm just gonna
Go ahead.
help you there, is I've had talks with the fire, been there, we've had meetings, everything. Problem is right now, there's a new chief that's getting ready to, Chuck's retiring or resigning, I mean, and then they're going from a 3 to a 5 board personnel. So once that gets in place, then we revisit this. And yes, there is more money that they can get through the fire department. And I would think that the Toledo Fire taking it over and they see that they have more money out there than they truly needed, you can always go back on the tax. The way it's set right now, though, but back to what Jonathan's saying is, and I'm not disagreeing with him, is that board is made up of everyone that's in those areas.
I understand.
And-
You raise the taxes, but you won't go back.
Amen to
I have a comment. Can someone do a study and just tell me how much money like other counties get versus our county, since our ambulance is independently owned? Someone do a study or show me some figures?
Yes,
I would like to know.
we've done that, and I'm gonna provide you with a bunch of figures right here. I did this back in December of 2023. These numbers were through the 911 coordinator. These were all electronically filed, and that is through the CAD system that was put in place in February 23rd of 2021. There was 743 calls over the course of almost exactly 2 years. The Toledo Ambulance Service Area 1, 2, and 3 combined, that equals 372 calls per year. Read that. Talking with Billy, 80 to 85% of their calls is Medicare and Medicaid at time, is $175 a run, Medicare $250 a run. Refusals, they charge $100 a run, but did state that 9 out of 10 people won't pay that. Therefore, I did the following calculations, giving them an average of $250 a run at 372 runs a year is $93,000 annual income. The current EAV values as of November 2023 in Special Service Area 1 is $806,147. SSA 2, $18,928. SSA 3, $44 million, a little over $44 million. The total of the three SSA EAV values is $60,636,363. The EAV values at the rate of 0.22 rate would have been $133,400. At the 0.4 rate would have been $242,545. Talking with Billy, asking bare bones minimum that they need to run the ambulance service. At bare bones required, a crew is 4 full-time basics. She wanted 4 basics full-time and 4 full-time paramedics. My recommendation at that time was 4 full-time basics and 2 full-time paramedics, or 4 part-time paramedics. According to the income and the levy money, that would be very close to the break-even point. They are in process of getting certified. I don't know if you guys have got that yet, able to charge more. Like I said, this was at that time. The starting wage of a full-time basic is $54,600. Starting wage of a paramedic, $65,520. At that time, at this point in time when I figured this, she said they currently have 4 full-time basics along with 4 part-time paramedics. Part-time basic is 15 an hour. Part-time paramedic is 18 an hour. So here's the math. 4 full-time basics at $54,600 is $218,400. 2 full-time paramedics or 4 part-time is $131,040. Combined total is $349,440. So if you do the income at the previous rate calculated, which is $93,000 plus a 0.4 tax levy, is $242,545, which brings the grand total of $335,545. So even with the 0.4 tax rate, they would still be in the red with that amount of personnel of $13,895. If they operated very bare bones of just 4 full-time basics, that's $218,400 salary expense, would put them in the black by $117,000. Now, all of these figures is without any other expense. This is only salaries. And Billy, what is the law that how many personnel that you get that?
2 on duty, 24/7.
2.
Right now, we're just running on basics. May 11th, we have 1 full-time paramedic coming on, and if he's on duty, if he's home, he will come in and run an ALS. And then we have 2 more part-time paramedics picking up shifts. That's of May 11th. But you have to have 2. To be an ALS, you have to have a paramedic and basic. To be a basic, you have to have 2 basics.
Well, there's a lot of flexibility in that, come to think of it. There's such a designation as an EMR as well as the BLS and the
Can I
ALS.
answer that?
Yes, please.
We just met with Chaplain Cape Chapin Rose yesterday.
Good.
Does not apply to an SSA.
That's another
And
reason
that's
why
not
we
our
should get
fault.
rid of the SSA.
And they do not have that EMR. They no
EMR.
longer have that anymore. He told us that yesterday in our meeting.
Yeah. We had the opportunity to speak at to our legislators in Springfield last month and to provide input actually into the ambulance legislation. And there are a lot of things that we can still do with ambulance legislation. So if we want to address those problems, we can do that, and we do have legislative support.
I have questions about the ALS and BLS. So if you're ELS and you need ALS service, you have to go meet, if you're going to Sterbridge, you have to meet Charleston, Mattoon, Ridge to get transferred. So with insurance, the insurance is not gonna pay for that BLS.
No, if you get transferred to another ambulance service, they bill. We do
I
not.
understand that.
Yes.
So now and I don't wanna say wasting materials, but you are, fuel, materials and everything, to even transfer.
Correct. Well, no,
For
we
the ALS.
can get paid for the gas mileage to wherever they met us at, but that's all we can get paid for. And it's whatever the state sets for the gas mileage.
And I get that,
Yes.
but that's what I'm saying, so why would we not always have ALS Why would we not always have it as ALS?
That's
Because then
what,
you're gonna get more money.
we,
And you're gonna
that's what
get
we're,
paid.
that's what we're aiming for.
But there's another question. Why can't Toledo take like transfers?
We can.
Why don't they? Because there's good money in those transfers.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If ALS is coming, ALS.
yes, and we are on the list, we're gonna take transfer.
Can I answer that?
Sure. Because I want to understand.
If you don't have two ambulances, and you're trying that one ambulance up for 4 hours or so.
But you're
and
also
then there's
losing
no
$1,500
ambulance service.
for a transfer.
Right, but you don't have a service in town, or
I understand, but we do have to, right?
if they're both
Man.
staffed.
So we
And
can't,
supply.
so that's where the part-time has. So you,
But the figures they gave, they average one run a day.
right,
So the 2-year, we gave the 2-year numbers, they average one run a day. So there's plenty of time to transfer runs.
Longer staff.
And I will address that. Actually, during COVID, the number of runs went down to about 18 on average, whereas before it seems like they try to push it up to 30 to maintain relevancy. So we actually did do a lower number. There are several reasons for that, but one of the reasons, which is very important, is that this affects all ambulance companies. Clark County right now is under a huge amount of pressure. Parts of Effingham County are seeing this as well. And what's happening, there's a certain number of ambulance users that are not actual emergency users. So they would be people that could be taken by an EMR or a BLS, or two EMRs or two BLSs, or one EMR and a BLS. So, and this is the problem. The law allows this to happen. There are ways to work with it so that it doesn't happen, but it's difficult to do, and there are a lot of steps to do it. There is some discussion about taking a proactive role on that and finding out who these, I guess they may call them frequent flyers, who are using this service in a manner that it's not actually originally designed. And so if we took it proactively, we would have other people from other departments that would be dealing with them, as well as having our ambulance personnel coming to their aid.
Guy in the back there.
If they call an ambulance has to come.
They are required.
If they're a frequent flyer, it does not matter. If it's not an emergency matter, it doesn't matter. If they call an ambulance has to come. If they want to go to the emergency room, they have to take that. It does not matter if you're talking about basics and all that other stuff, that's fine, but if they don't call for another mode of transportation in the hospital, they call for an ambulance, well, guess what, that's how they're going. You can't stop those frequent flyers from doing that.
That's correct. That's how it's currently written.
No. That's not how, it is how it's currently done,
Yeah.
but that's how it will always be done. As a county, as a community, we cannot stop them from calling for ambulance. You can't just go to their house and tell them, hey, you gotta stop.
Nobody's saying that.
Well, you're saying that in third, so what's your proposed change to that?
I said to deal with it proactively. So once we identify who these people are and what their problems are, we can go to them on a regular basis and tend to these needs that causes them to have to go to the ER without being an emergency. So a lot of times they're dropped off there, then they get other transportation, they get their groceries, and they get taken home. That would be a terrible abuse of our system. And I don't think anybody here wants to see that abuse of the system, but also we don't want to ignore the person who called for an emergency ambulance service. So nobody's doing
How do
that.
you know about finding out who these people are?
Oh, definitely. The people in there, people know.
But it's against HIPAA.
You can't, yeah, you
That's
can't
a
know that.
HIPAA issue.
I can't know that.
Am I correct, Don?
if you have Medicaid for that payment, then again, in Bloomington, you're being paid $800 for that run. Bring it all day long.
And this is not Bloomington. This is Cumberland County.
But you can still get paid for it.
Yes.
Yes.
Transfer, the problem is you only get $200 for their payment.
We had a frequent flyer. The insurance company, which was Medicaid or Medicare, I don't know which one, they shut them off. But anytime after
I know
that,
who that frequent flyer is you're talking about.
and when they came called, we still had to go.
I I understand.
And the insurance did, so that is being proactive through the insurance company. Don't know if it's Medicare or Medicaid, but we can't do anything about that. So, and I did want to answer your question on COVID. Our runs did not go down. They did on paper because they would call for an ambulance and the older people were too afraid to go to the hospital. So they refused. And we did try to apply for COVID money. We were told we had to show a loss in revenue. We did not have a loss in revenue on the first year of COVID.
Nothing in writing.
Ron Blackburn.
Kyle, I don't want to dish you here real quick, like, but Lisa asked about countywide. You just gave the special service areas. Do you know anything about Neoga and Greenup?
Yes, I do. Yeah, Greenups is 0.4. That's what I'm in. I pay
Well,
for.
I mean, you know, you gave all the other numbers broken down.
Yeah, I don't have them with me, but I went through all of them. With all of them. I had, when we met at the Toledo Fire, Greenup was there, Neoga was there, Toledo was there. All of them were there.
So the total amount from Greenup, Toledo, the Central was how much?
Oh, all of them combined? I do not have that number.
Okay, that, I think.
Greenups was, remember Bob, Greenups was 800 or 900, I was thinking, somewhere in that ballpark.
Are you wanting to know the rate?
Yeah, I'm wanting to know, what's the difference in the rate from us being independent versus county that can build their.
So what area 1, 2, and 3, what we're talking about is 0.22, 0.40. You're wanting to know what?
The amount that we get paid. Not that the Medicare and.
Oh.
Medicaid pay. If you're not an independent, because there's more revenue.
I think,
Right, like Greenup has the interstate, they have, there's some, like, they're gonna pull in more money, for sure.
But if they're billing it differently and they're getting more money, what is the difference? Because they told them we were independent, so we can't bill.
Billy's gonna answer that question. Billy?
The county board requested that I contact Greenup and Neoga. We bill exactly what they do. Exactly.
Okay, so why are other counties in our state getting more reimbursement back?
They're not.
They are, Medicaid allows for higher reimbursement rate through the state of Illinois. The state of Illinois has a program which requires an entity, be it the fire department or a city, whoever's running this fire ambulance. You do the math and say, here's how much it costs to run the ambulance, $1 million. Great. Here's how many runs we're doing. They divide it in and then they calculate how much it costs to do a run. That amount is now, the state of Illinois bills Medicare, Medicaid, CMS, the entity that is the federal government. The state of Illinois bills this larger amount, $1,800, let's say. The state of Illinois gets that $1,800, and here's what the state of Illinois does, what it does. They take half. So even though it costs, we just put on paper that it's $1,800 to do an ambulance run for this area, you could have a high cost because we have low runs, and that's where it costs more, so you can have a full time service and low run. So our numbers are gonna be very high. The state takes half, just how they do it. So what we're still would get, in this case, in Bloomington's example, they were getting around $900 a run per Medicaid run, which is a huge difference than what we're.
We talked to Chamber Road yesterday for 2 hours. He never mentioned anything like that, did
The only thing that was brought up was the paper that I've given Jonathan and the county board that we received from the state a year and a half ago, that they wanted their survey every month starting in January of 2023, go for the whole 2023, and then it might be a year or two before they get all that data. Do you remember that paper I gave you,
That's
Jonathan?
that's a whole different thing. They're just trying to figure out if they should pay more for Medicaid.
And that last thing we got from.
But that's exactly what CMS does. This is CMS. This is the state of Illinois standing in between the small entities and Medicare or CMS, saying state has got a contract with the federal government to get paid at this higher rate, and then the state is reimbursing the entity at this half of the cost. So it ends up being a lot of money. This is a program that's been available for more than 6 years. And I've talked about it with many people.
Okay,
We're not-
question I got for you, then, Claire, is, all the M's in the state of Illinois are in a financial problem. That's pretty well true.
In the
statement.
country.
In the United States,
Yeah.
the state of Illinois. It's pretty well in financial trouble. So if this, your deal is so much better than Cumberland County, why are they in such financial shape?
Bloomington's doing great. In fact, in the case of Bloomington and Normal both filed to do this program. They took it a different tack. One of them said, because we're stepping in and getting this higher amount, we're not gonna balance bill anybody. So the benefit flowed to everybody because the city did their job and got the highest reimbursement they could for the run.
Okay, so anyway, I'd like to do a little summary here. We've got a lot of, answered a few questions, got a lot more questions we've done, but anyway. A lot of people like to see this go to the fire department in Toledo. I can kind of see there would be some advantage, but it's kind of our goal as the county board, to get it to go to the fire department eventually. But until then, we would kind of like to have this tax increase to get us financially sound till the fire department can take over. It'll be a year or two before they can take over. So that's why I'm asking that we go ahead with this 40 cents rate. And if it does pass, then we will be there. And then if the fire department takes over, it will stay at the 40 cents rate and they will run it and hopefully make a little more money and make it survive.
That,
That's my opinion.
I don't think that's fully true.
Gentleman there's got a question.
How many dollars are we talking about?
Would you repeat the question, please?
I can't hear you. I didn't hear that.
How many dollars are we talking?
How much is it gonna cost for a year?
Kyle had that number a while ago. 40 cents, he would just break even.
Grand total with the levy and their income, based on the rate I had, is gonna be $335,545. So with the tax levy alone by itself would be $242,545 at 0.4. That was with the EAV values as of November 2023.
Okay.
The population of the central district is,
That's the Toledo ambulance.
Hold on.
That's the Toledo ambulance. I did this as a board member.
Tornado does all that. We send it to a clearing house, they check it over, make sure everything's up, wrapping up, and then they build the insurance company for themselves. We should have a tornado.
so the question on the floor was, do we know the numbers for the SSA, the SSAs? Is that correct? SSA 1, SSA 2, and SSA 3?
The population?
Of the I don't have the population, but I have the EAV values of each one. So 1, 2, and 3, I have the EAV values.
What time do they have the population?
Deb, would you have population?
I don't have the population.
Okay. We do not have the
Population of
population.
Toledo.
We do not know the population.
Oh, we have the households.
It's
Drive by that
available.
sign every day.
It's available, we just don't have it in front of us right now.
So are you guys saying that if this was all three districts, all three SSA districts are gonna be all up to 40 cents? Or is it going to be the 22 cents, 19 cents, whatever variation?
It'd be
Or
40.
is it just all across the board?
All three will be 40.
Across the board.
So then it would not need to be three different districts, it would just be one district then?
No, still 3.
There's still 3 areas.
Still 3 service areas.
Still 3 areas. It'd just be, they all be paying exactly the same rate. Right now, they're not, they were not, well, right now.
I
they
mean,
are.
because here's a visual of what the SSA areas look like. The pink is SSA 3. So if you want to get signatures, there would be 2,547 signatures that you would need for this area. That's District 3 alone.
And that's the 51%.
That was, you would have, no, that's the total. That's not 51%.
So it is
But
required,
that's what I guess that's the visual of how the districts are set up. So I mean, you mentioned before about it being town versus the country, and that's kind of not correct either, because there's a lot of town people that are in District 3 also. Example, the first name on the list is Kevin Aaron, who lives right here on the Burma. He's in District 3. So the lines are very, I mean, that's kind of misleading, I think, whenever you look at that.
Area 3 is a big area. Because it takes in the county. And,
I mean, I think,
Little Angels did not set this up.
Yeah.
In 82, the county board and Farm Group set this all.
I mean, I just think that everybody's thinking that SSA 1 is Toledo, SSA 2 is Greenup, and that's, or Jewett, sorry, Jewett, not Greenup. And that's kind of misleading because there are several people
Totally agree with that.
that are in SSA 3 that really should be in one of these other SSA areas.
And I don't know, Spring Point does not pay any animal taxes.
Not at all. Yeah.
They don't get that in all
Service
this.
area, no, you-
No, I don't know.
Your son lives out there by me.
Is $125,000.
Who's in-
So the people that are in these SSAs will be paid 0.80 cents on the 100, because 40 cents goes to the fire department and 40 cents goes to the ambulance. Why, you're saying that Greenup and Neoga only pay 40 cents?
No,
No.
I'm .4 fire, .4 ambulance, Greenup.
Okay, so it is.
Yep.
So what if you're in one of those fire districts, but you're in the Toledo ambulance?
Who you're in.
Yeah, so you pay for the, yeah. I get it. And they drew these lines years and years ago. Why they did not include the entire county is forever beyond me.
And they.
Ideally, what I propose, and I've talked to some lawyers about it, is one special service area, the whole county.
Absolutely, make it a district, one district, and then.
Agreed.
People may not care, I mean.
The problem with that, though, so everyone knows, is if you did that, the county board has all the voting control.
Yeah.
And they
Not
do,
within the fire department, no.
Not if we
yes,
did a service.
yes. If you create one service area, the
Right,
county,
but you won't create one service area, because
So
Greenup has
right now,
theirs,
John,
Neoga
you
has
are the representative for free. I mean,
so my point is, one whole special service area would be through the county board. vote.
District, but I live on the wrong side of the driveway.
I was gonna say, cause I was
Yeah.
trying to find where you were at.
But having said that, he is right, but I've never seen the back seat of the Neoga ambulance, but I've seen Toledo ambulance 3 times.
Okay.
When I call 911, Toledo ambulance comes to my house, not Neoga, because Toledo ambulance is gonna be there 10 times faster than Neoga.
Sure.
Remember, Neoga said, Neoga also gets taxes on Shelby County.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
they don't know how they work this out to make it one.
There is a way, but it is very complicated.
Yes, it's very complicated.
Very.
Just a minute, Ron. That guy back there.
Bridgewater Township.
I'm sorry?
Bridgewater Township.
They pay $0. Zero.
So, you're wanting to raise ours, and you live in Springfield.
I do not.
I do not want to raise yours. Your SSA board wants to raise your taxes.
You just. He
voted for
Be back.
He wants to raise your taxes.
Well,
I'm against, I'm voting for an ambulance service. Don't be projecting onto me what I did. I will explain it.
That's part of it.
You don't know why I did it.
well, Mr. Flood, how are you going to raise taxes if the board does not do it?
By voting.
Why are you voting to raise ours, and you're not taking any?
Okay, I
Right.
will vote not to raise your taxes, and you will not have an ambulance.
We
Yes,
will have an ambulance because.
yes.
That's what you want? You want no ambulance? You want no ambulance?
We'll have to force it.
What game?
.22.
So we will have.
We will have ambulance service.
You will have an ambulance service, but it may not be good enough.
I'll show you.
If it's ambulance, it'll be good enough.
All right, Lloyd, moving along.
That's, one last question here. Mr. Sponsel, and then we're done.
Does Sarah have a ambulance service hired run transfer?
They do.
Is it called advance?
It's
It's happening, but
So that's why Toledo doesn't make any transfer.
No, that's not true.
There's others that do, 19 and Charleston.
But they won't take it. They only take their own. Abbott's available sometimes.
So that's changed recently.
Are you
Okay.
asking any questions you're done?
Are
you done?
I'm not.
I'd like to ask for
It's busy, then they go down the list to get other people.
No, that's always been that way. That's been that way, but they'll call their home area first. So if it's a Toledo resident, yes, Toledo resident will get called Toledo, but Toledo don't have an ambulance, they can't call Toledo.
That is
So-
not entirely
So what do
true.
I?
When Jessica's mother was in the hospital, she had to get transferred.
Yeah.
We told them to call Toledo. Toledo was already at the hospital unloading a patient. They called Green. Sarah Bush did that.
I got one question.
But they can deny that.
I got a question for her.
A show of hands for the people
They can't.
that are against the tax increase. Against. Roughly 31.
Okay, no, wait a minute.
Hold on, I got a question.
I want
I got
to
a question.
rebuttal that question. How many are for the fire department taking it over?
We already know
Well, I already
that.
know
No,
that.
no. You just wait a minute. You just wait a minute. Wait a minute. How many of you want the fire department to take it over? Raise your hands. Okay, how many are you aware that the fire department, okay, now there you go. Now, how many of you are aware that if the fire department takes it over, there's gonna be a tax increase?
Okay, back to my question. For the people that are for a tax increase, please raise your hand.
There's going to be a tax increase, whether the fire department takes it over, the ambulance service keeps it, there's going to be a tax increase. Just so you guys are aware.
For the people that are for the tax increase, raise your hand.
For the tax increase.
For the tax.
For.
2, 4, 6, 8.
8. Okay, so we had roughly 31 people here tonight that are against the tax increase and 8 that are for it. So,
Todd,
based on
let me,
these people here tonight, now we'll see how your board members represent you.
You guys are misled. You guys are all misled. You guys are very misled. I'm telling you that right now. This board is misleading you right now.
And now you have to sign petitions.
how
to get rid of it.
many people are in this district?
I have land in this
versus the
district.
35 that came to voice their opinion?
So when you say I have no right to vote,
You do have.
I do have, because I have land in Sumter Township.
Every one of you have a right to vote, because if Toledo becomes inactive again, it will be taken over by Greenup and Toledo. And then you may or may not have an ambulance service when you need it.
You know who has the right to vote? Is the people out here in the audience, and they don't get the right to vote on this. The county board is voting
The
on it.
people in
We're
the
gonna-
county.
That's right, and we are also responsible for doing these figures and finding this math. Not every single individual unless they want to.
Well, if that's the case, why have you not pursued what this lady said? That you can get $900 from Medicaid, Medicare.
That's the first I've heard of it. And
I'm not
she's
sure
saying
that's
just
fact.
Bloomington, but
I'm sure it's true.
there's, all these towns are in shambles. Springfield's crumbling. They're everywhere. And it's because, sure, right.
She's talking about Bloomington and you're taking her word for it. So why don't you tell her not to worry about Bloomington, worry about Toledo?
I'll bring anybody a piece of paper. I'm not making it up.
I'm pretty sure Bloomington's got more people.
I handed it out to you.
Let's clarify Claire's saying, we have to, it will not work for the SSA board to do her stuff. We have to go to the fire department to get her a better deal. Did you understand that?
Right, because
Yes. And I am 100% for it going to the fire department. 100%. So that, from the get-go.
No, the taxes are gonna go up, no matter what. They're gonna go up again. They're gonna go up.
If they can't get any more money, as it stands right now,
I'm being as truthful as possible to you. Your taxes are gonna go up. Do not be misled by the fire department taking it over that your taxes are not gonna go up. They're gonna go up.
No matter what, if they do not get the income that I stated right here, one way or the other, they fail. Bottom line.
With this estimate that just happened, why can they not get money from that? What did that money go to?
The other taxing districts. We had nothing.
That goes the whole county, the county-wide.
Service, tried to get in on that, whenever they reassessed, like, why did they try to raise it then, and then why are we here now? That's the problem with a lot of people.
Well, if your
The
assessment went
biggest
up,
problem is this is never tapered up to get to this point. We're going from way down here and just imposing it right here, which is terrible. It should have been slowly progression to that over the years, and it didn't.
But that's the county board, that's the go board's problem, not the taxes. Now you wanna make
Agreed.
it an 18 cents jump, when everybody else just increased their taxes. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. So did mine. Mine went up 42%. Yeah.
I'm absolutely for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not for my taxes going up more.
What is the taxing number right now for the Toledo Fire Department?
0.4.
0.4.
Single? No.
No, Toledo.
0.4.
And Toledo, and the ambulance would be a separate line item. So just like Greenup, it's a separate line item.
That's why I say that they're gonna go up.
Yes.
Toledo ambulance would probably go with a
Even talking to them when I was there with the meeting, absolutely, there was no question they go to 0.4.
Okay, just a minute. Ron, you have a
I
question?
just want you guys to be aware, if it goes away from the Toledo SSA or it goes to the Toledo Fire Department, your taxes are gonna go up. So do not be misled that because you guys raise your hand because you don't want a tax increase, it's gonna go up.
The difference is, you'll be able to vote for them if the fire department is to raise them. See, you don't have the ability to vote when the boards are. You will have the ability to vote when we put it out there.
We're just the bad guys because it happened.
No, I'm not saying it's just by, no, you're wrong, so I go worse.
Okay, just a minute.
We done here, Floyd?
Not quite. One more. Ron's got one question.
I don't wanna be a bad guy, but I'm still.
I've got this question for Bev, and I think it'll help answer the lady's question about her
Floyd, to me, just
50% jump and, or 50% jump. We are under tax caps, is that correct? Do you know what the approximate total amount of EAV we have in the county?
I do in the 3 service areas.
Well, I wanted the whole county.
I don't have that.
No, the service area is the beginning.
Yeah, so for the 3 service areas combined is $60,636, or $60,636,000, $363. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically 61,000, close to 61,000.
61,000.
61 million.
61 million. Okay. Now, if there's a 50% increase in that 61 million, that's gonna be about 90 million, is that correct?
You said a what? 50%?
50% increase.
61?
50%?
It'd be about, and take it to 90 million. That'd be
Yeah,
30
take it to 90 million, yeah.
30,000. Now, we're under tax caps. Can we jump people's in taxes that much because of tax caps? What is tax caps? What is the rule of tax caps?
If your assessment goes up, your rate can go down some, but you can only get so much from.
the pie.
The whole pot.
The higher your EAV is, the lower taxes you pay,
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. which is a good thing.
There are some, being an ex-superintendent, I play with these things every once in a while. There are some things that are not under the tax caps. Some of the funds are not under tax caps. But the ones that are under tax caps, your EAV went up, but probably your rate will be going down.
But it's still relevant to how that works out.
They
It
can-
went up and down.
She can only raise, for the ones that are under the tax caps, she can only raise the amount by 5% at the most, or the cost of living index.
Except the biggest thing is the schools that are not under tax caps.
The school is not under tax caps, you are correct.
That it?
That's it,
I got
folks.
one question.
One-
Bob, you said the water tax is going up, right? Yeah. Tell me exactly who's gonna pay for it. As far as farmland,
Everyone.
woods, houses, is every house gonna be taxed the same?
No, I don't know how they do it.
Every piece of land?
I don't know, because in this letter it even says, and Ray, I'm ignorant when it comes to how they do the farmland stuff. It is taxed different because it's broke down different. But it'll probably go up. The fire department will do it like they did for the fire districts. They'll raise it up to the 0.4. They'll go for the max. It'll take time, but they're going to go to the 0.4 max on it. So yeah, it'll be all. So
The question is.
if it goes.
If farmland goes to 0.4, is woods?
I assume so, yeah. Everything.
The farmland's
Whatever the
calculated on
SSA is right
soil
now.
Every household?
Yep, whatever.
See, what really chaps me a little bit is, so if you got, $400,000 home, someone's got a $50,000 home. Now you're only gonna tax him $7, you're gonna tax this guy $400. If the ambulance gets called, they're not gonna go to the guy that's got $400 bill. They're gonna go wherever they get called for, right? Second time, you guys split it up.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing with, the same way with insurance. Just because you got Blue Cross Blue Shield or Fredericks of Hollywood, they're not, or London, they're not going to go get you first because you got better insurance. They're going to go to the guy with insurance.
All I'm saying is,
Yeah.
what you're saying here is not even fair at all.
It's kind of like
I didn't set it up.
township.
You're fired too.
You get, township charges wood, land, farm.
He's been on the ambulance twice, I've never been on.
And you still pay it.
Pay your bills, boys.
Hey, how much comes from your house?
You want to see my receipt?
Pay it. Well, I mean, I know you paid it, but
What's the difference?
It works in Spring Point.
It doesn't what it's supposed to. Yeah.
Why is it that Spring Point Township?
Because the county board years ago, they drew the lines and they did not include.
Are we
done
here? Hey, sir, the
Oh,
only,
I've
sir, the only
I've
problem with the
talked about it.
comment
Yeah,
is if
Neoga knows
you
about
call on the other end by
And they
not
did
paying
it.
your bill, there may not be anybody there because not everybody pays their bill.
Okay,
There's
so
businesses closing every day because nobody's paying their bill.
this hearing is over, okay, thanks for the comments and the confusion. But,
Thank you for the confusion.
Yeah.
hey, that wasn't hard.
thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn this hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Beat up and
Do we have a second?
A second.
Don't pass it.
Yeah.
They're gonna watch it fail.
Somebody here.